The developers recently launched a Q&A indicating to us the direction of Call of Dragons. So in this video, I'm going to review everything they had to say and share my thoughts. So stick around in this video for the things you need to know about the future of Call of Dragons. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming and today's video is sponsored by the makers of Call of Dragons. But with that said, you all know that I'm really opinionated in the direction that I think the game ought to go. This needs to be a community game with war if it's going to be as popular as some of the other games that top the charts for strategy games, specifically when we look at strategy war games. So as I look through this list today, pretty much every feature I'm going to look at, I'm going to say, and how does this make the community of the game better? And my hope is that also developers are kind of doing the same thing. And I'll tell you, the last time the developers launched a Q&A, they said there were going to be some really great changes, and those showed up in the patch notes. So that's why this is important, and let's get started. Item number 1. The pet skill cards are being consumed even after canceling learning or abandoning. That's a feature, not a defect. As well as the low probability of learning skills in empty slots, which often leads to overwriting existing skills. Now look, I have been extremely vocal on my thoughts on this one. Players ought to be able to choose where the skills go. I think it's more fun when you can actually control what your pet is. And I think that the loot slot machine aspect of this particular feature, I would love to see change. So what do the developers say? We appreciate the feedback and acknowledge the issues. We plan to guide lords towards selecting skills that offer better value for their skill slots. Now, personally, I don't know how that addresses the issue at all. Additionally, we're working on an optimization that will expand the number of available skill slots. This also really does not address the issue of skills being random. But the idea that we're getting more skill slots, or at least expanding the number of skill slots, has several major implications for Call of Dragons. First of all, if you have a pet with really good attributes, but a bad number of skill slots, you should not regenerate it yet. Because if I'm reading this correctly, maybe what this does is you can get to 8 skill slots, and like, you just need a currency or something else. So you might have good attributes, but bad skill slot count. Chill for now on the regenerations. Maybe you can get to 8 using this. Alternatively, this could mean you have the base number of skill slots you already have, plus you can get a limited number of additional skill slots. Or this could mean, hey, however many skill slots you have, the new maximum is now 10 or 12 or whatever. I even think that the talent skill on the pets should not take a skill slot, and I think it should be inherent to every pet of its type, and the star level of that could be different, but like, whatever. There's a bunch of things that I think could be done with pets. I'm glad they're looking at pets, and I hope they continue to look at pets, because they should feel like a slam dunk major area of hype, and I think that the randomization of skills takes an astonishing amount of wind out of those sails. So from here, feedback. We need better items in Alliance rare boxes. Specifically, gold boxes contain purple quality items like VIP points and speed ups. So this to me feels like the players like, give me more loot now. And like, they didn't really give a reason as to like why they should get more loot. And the developers say, hey, thanks for the suggestion. The drop rate's what it's supposed to be. We're not changing it. GG. Up next, can we increase the weekly limit of gem fatigue or remove gem fatigue entirely? So for those of you that don't know, you can gather gems on the map, but if you gather too many, you get fatigued and it becomes completely pointless. This is very different than the predecessor to this game, Rise of Kingdoms, where you can literally farm thousands of gems per day. So it is, I think, unsurprising, in my opinion, that the developers are saying, hey, thanks for the suggestion. We don't plan to change the gem fatigue, right? And I would, of course, like to see the game be more free-to-play friendly, but I don't anticipate this changing. Do I think it'd be kind of a cool win for the developers to make it, even just like a head nod, slightly more free-to-play friendly? Absolutely. So, like, I hope the developers see that at some point they can, you know, even just slightly improve the gem fatigue thing, and, like, players will lock that in as a, you know, perceived win. I don't know. I think they should do that at some point, but they're saying no, not going to do it now. Next question. There are too many participants in the Great Heights event, and only the top 10 players receiving permanent skins. It's too little. So I think this question's framed more nicely, but I can tell you from the way Rise of Kingdoms works, I would have expected this to not change and it to be working the way the developers intend. And they're like, yeah, thanks for voicing your concern. We are currently not looking into any changes for this event. We want to clarify our matching standards align with the number of players in the seasonal server. And from a player's perspective, the event difficulty is in line with our expectations. Now, you know, difficulty is an interesting word here. Like, I think the skin rarity is intended. It is supposed to be rare. And like, hey, everybody, great news, okay? Rallying and garrisoning is such a minor part of this game. Well, with the exception of the broken rally meta, but they're changing that, right? Where rallies would defend themselves. But otherwise, rallies are such an irrelevant minor part of this game. I don't think it's as big a deal in this game as it actually is in the predecessor to this game, Rise of Kingdoms, where I would have said it was absolutely critical. I mean critical that you get a 10% stat city theme, legendary theme. So I think most people will not have legendary themes in this game. I think most people don't need legendary themes in this game. And that even includes, for the most part, me, which is kind of weird because like maybe I'll even be rallying, but for the most part, I don't think this is too big a deal. Would I love to have more access to those city themes? Of course, right? But I think the response here from the devs is super reasonable. But up next, increase the number of level 25 Warpet spawns. They are currently difficult to find. I could not agree with this comment more. I wish they had said, how many hours per day do you think is reasonable for me to be looking for Warpets? Because then you might get a really insightful answer as to like, what do the developers think is a healthy amount of time every day for players to look for Warpets? And you look, let me explain. The reason level 25 Warpet spawns matter is because the higher level Warpets have a better chance of dropping something good. My expectation and understanding is that the developers have also said in the most recent patch note, all the card in the end screen, I reviewed it, and it's currently not in game, but I reviewed it and they said, hey, we're going to increase the Warpet levels that are spawning and the dark creature levels and the darkling levels, which to me means better Warpet quality is coming. So that means probably we find more 2-star talent skills, maybe at some point 3-star talent skills. So my point here is that finding the max level Warpet is really, really, really important. Although on any one-day basis, it actually won't be all that important, but in the long run it will be, right? So the devs say, hey, in our upcoming update, trolls are no longer going to be there. So they're getting rid of dark creatures, I think, entirely. Trolls are the current dark creature, and all dark creatures will be replaced with pets. So it creates more opportunities for beasts to spawn. We expect the increase will be substantial, although we're not disclosing specific numbers. And I think that, like, even if it's double the number of Warpets, I still think this is not enough, and let me explain why. If I want one specific Warpet type, it's going to take me multiple zones and at least an hour a day, maybe 2 hours, of like running around to find the pet that I want. That is a big deal. And that is a big time commitment every single day to finding the pet that I want. Now, if I'm, indiscriminate, I don't care what kind of pet I want, then finding any level 25 pet will go faster and will be easier. And so in that regard, once you've got your sort of full complement of desired pets, you're good to go. But what is a full complement of desired pets? Well, in my opinion, if you save your elixir for big fights, which you probably should, you need kind of 2 pets of each type because you're going to run out of pet stamina before you run out of hero stamina. It's very weird the way that works, but hero stamina recovery seems to be faster. I don't know if the developers know that that's the case, if they've realized it or not, but pet stamina is recovering slower, and I find that I need duplicates of every one of my Warpets. So I'll have a weaker version of each Warpet that I keep in kind of reserve leveled up, and I swap that in once I start blasting through my elixir for like the most important fight of the season. Because I'd like to not be running around without a pet at all. So all that to say, it's going to take a while for all of us to have like multiple pets already that are, at a pretty good spot. For me, for pretty much all of my pets, it's like one pet that's got a 1-star talent skill, and then a backup pet that's got a 0-star talent skill. So anyways, I think that adding more spawns is great, but I think that all of the war pets should spawn at the max level of pets that can spawn for the map. And the reason is that it just takes too long, in my opinion, to sort of play optimally and run around and try to find the highest level ones. I think that doubling the number of spawns by getting rid of the dark creatures and replacing them with capturable pets is cool, but let me present to you one other reason why I think this is not going to be sufficient in the long run. And the reason is that they're going to keep releasing new pets, right? So the more pets they add, the less likely to find the one you want. So the more you care about any one pet, the more important it is that there are more pets at a viable level to capture. So I think if I were them, I would really double down on more opportunities. But this is a great starting point, and I can't wait to see if I feel the same way or not after the number of spawns has gone up dramatically. All right, next up, item number 6. The Season 2 map is a bit boring, lengthy, and features too many semi-protected passes. So I actually extremely strongly disagree with this. And also I strongly agree with it. So I think the Season 2 map is fine, but I think the last 20 days of the season need to disappear. I think the last 20 days of the season are, in my opinion, super, super pointless. You get the magmas. There's this like covenantal offerings thing where you like spend resources and get some rewards that like, I guess they're cool, but like the last 20 days of a season need to be nuked. And maybe the way to run that is to make the front part of the season take longer. I think that would be 100 times better than to make the last... Think about it this way, okay? For the players that lose the season, you get to live in your loss for 20 days. As opposed to the first 20 days of the season. If you made that longer by 20 days, there's only possibilities at the start of the season. And look, the way that players are just thrown onto the map and they could make their own allies, I mean, the season could already be over for you, but it's way better, I think, to elongate the start of the season than it is the end of the season where like half the people are just sitting there going like, all right, hey, we're locked in our starting zone. WTF is the point of playing this game right now. And I think that's not a healthy state for players to be in. So I think they're right that Season 2 map is lengthy at the end. And I do not think there are too many semi-protected passes. I think they are fine. There's no home kingdom. They're adding a home kingdom, but it kind of doesn't matter in my opinion. I think that the way the season should work is we all rush toward the dragon, and then once the dragon is captured, the season is over. We move into the next season and start our new expedition. That's the way I think the game should work. Developers say thank you for your feedback. We will adjust the pace in future seasons, which includes maintaining a certain number of semi-protected passes to accommodate various preferences from lords. I mean, I would say it differently, like, all players deserve to be able to play the game. And given that, even with a safe zone, like, instead of making that experience really unpleasant, like, players should have access to stuff. They should. We're looking for, to improve PvP opportunities as well as PvP experience. I think that's fine. I already have talked about this a lot, so let's go to the next one. We need more ways to get Sentinel Arrows, besides the Divine Treasure event. So this was the case in Rise of Kingdoms. People, obviously want the currencies they need to max level all their buildings, and the developers say, thank you for your suggestion. We understand the concerns and will be introducing additional methods to acquire Sentinel Arrows. Hey, that's actually awesome. I was not expecting that answer. Furthermore, we're actively discussing potential changes to address the Divine Treasure boxes. Dope. Love it. That's a great answer. Love it. Feedback. Please give us the ability to exchange surplus building speed-ups for other items once all building technologies are maxed out. They do this in Rise of Kingdoms. It's like not a ton. It's 200 speed-ups of every denomination that you can exchange building speeds to training speeds. Now, Rise of Kingdoms, for those that don't know, and I know a lot of you watch my videos a lot, so you know this, but Rise of Kingdoms is the predecessor to this game. I've been playing it for 5 years. And that's the way they do it in Rise of Kingdoms, and I would bet you they're doing something similar here, but I hope it's even better than that, right? Like, I want to change all my building speedups. I don't need any building speedups anymore. And the developers have already done a good job, in my opinion, of diminishing the extent to which you get things like building speedups from event rewards, specifically paid events like the Lucky Spins. And Rise of Kingdoms, dude, can you imagine? You get building speeds and research speeds from Lucky Spins in Rise of Kingdoms, like even deep into the end game. Like, I have tens of years of, if not like 100 years of research speeds that I'm never going to use in Rise of Kingdoms. It's like, anyways, whatever. I'm glad they're doing this for building speeds in Rise of Kingdoms. I hope they do that for research speeds as well. Feedback. Exchange legendary hero tokens for other items after awakening a hero. I love this. This is a great question. I think they could have added a little bit onto that to say, like, you know, players should not feel punished for having awakened a hero, would be the add-on I would say here. Because, you know, if I pull the hero from a gold key, they're worthless to me now. Like, I shouldn't be punished for having done what the game wants you to do, which is to max heroes, right? And they say, thank you for your input. This suggestion is under discussion as it's related to our initial planning for future development. So, hey, look, in Rise of Kingdoms, I feel like the developers missed an opportunity to do something super meaningful with legendary sculptures. They added this event where you trade them in for almost nothing of value at all. And in other games I've played, like, when you get legendary drops, they're still good drops, even after you max the commander or the hero or whatever, right? I think they need to do that for this game. I think it will be so healthy for the game, so that every time you freaking slam a legendary from the tavern, you're like, yeah, baby, I got a legendary. So I hope the developers really take their time and do something really elegant with this. I think it will be a huge L. A huge L. I cannot overstate how much of an L it would be if they give us something really trivial, like, oh yeah, like, here's a few minutes of speed ups for your legendary token. Like, no. Take your time, think of something cool, and do something cool. And the developers did that in Rise of Kingdoms with a later tavern that they added. And I hope that they do that for, like, look, extra, you should always feel good when you get a legendary. That's my strong opinion. Always. Even if the exchange rate is not quite as good as, like, yeah, baby, I got my, you know, one legendary token and, like, boom, I use it for this hero. Like, in other games that I've played, you know, you get, I don't know, it's like 10 legendary hero tokens would exchange for, like, somewhere between 2 to 5 hero tokens of a hero you can only get from a special exchange, right? So they make it special. I hope they do something similar here. Don't rush this out. Feedback. Can we have a feature to prevent AoE damage from attracting Darklings during PvP battles? Bro, the number of times you target a Darkling, especially if you target a dark creature in PvP, dude, everybody now needs to spend their CP and kill that dark creature, because it's going to run around like AoE stunning an unlimited number of targets and AoE bleeding an unlimited number of targets. Dark creatures are like accidental friendly fire onto a dark creature, like, unironically, is the greatest enemy in PvP. It's, like, more dangerous than any player. Thank you for your suggestion. We've acknowledged the issue and we'll consider it. All right. I mean, you know, hey, I don't know how they solve this exactly, other than, like, hey, we see there's a bunch of PvP happening here. Maybe we don't spawn more dark creatures for now and they can spawn in later. I don't know what the answer is. It's like, that has its own problems too. But this is, I would say, relatively unimportant compared to other things, but there's actually a much longer list. We need to get to the second post here. Okay, maybe it's not much longer. 3 more things. Feedback. Can we have a locking mechanism for the talent skill during pet learning to prevent them from being replaced, given the rarity of the talent skill? I already talked about this earlier, and I honestly think that the developers should pull the talent skill out from the list of things that, like, can be replaced. Yes, I agree with this. Thank you for your suggestion. Our team will look into it. As of now, there's a confirmation button. Yeah, that really doesn't help. The way that works now is it'll say, like, hey, you just deployed a 3-star skill, but it's going to replace your talent skill. And so, you know, do you want to do that? And, like, that doesn't really solve the problem at all. Like, you can avoid the replacement, but, like, you can't avoid a skill you paid $50 to $100 for landing on the talent skill, right? And, like, that's the problem. The problem is, and this is the reason I'm, you know, I want to spend more on pets, but I haven't, is that I could spend $50, gamba on where the skill lands, and then not deploy it because it landed on the talent skill. Like, that's not good. So I am eager for, you know, some improvements to that sort of stuff. So I hope in the future they really seriously, you know, look at this sort of skill assignment randomness and go, can we do something with that? Feedback. Please let us combat on special terrains like rivers, adding more diverse battlefield options. So I don't know why that makes any sense. Constructing bridges is kind of an interesting one, though. Actually, constructing bridges is a really cool suggestion. I think that construction in this game has a lot of potential, And I actually think that part of this question is extremely insightful. Constructing bridges is a really interesting idea. I'm not saying I think it's good, but I think it's actually like it would definitely add to the strategic depth of the game. So what do they say? Thank you for suggestion. Our dev team is considering ways to optimize the role of flying units and introduce gameplay mechanics related to terrain. Yeah, so I think what they're saying here is we do kind of want terrain to still be sacred, but I'm going to be real with you. I think there are probably some things that could be built that could be really cool. Like a couple examples, okay? So they said a bridge. Okay, how about some sort of flying troop transport? Like, your alliance builds the transport, you fly it over the river, you drop your troops down, you fly it back, it can be destroyed. I don't know, like, it adds strategic depth. Is that good for the gameplay? Is a question I don't have the answer to, right? I don't have the answer, but I think it's really important. And I think that that's something, given the other things that are on the developer's plate, I feel like that is a low priority to mix up the combat in that way, even though I think it is, like, this question got cool in a way that I didn't expect. Constructing bridges is actually a very cool idea. Can we keep donating to Alliance research even after it's completed, so Alliance members are able to continue donating for personal Alliance points? You know, hey, look, in Rise of Kingdoms, you have Alliance skills you can use that last all season long. What we do in our Alliance is we'll deploy our behemoths when we're not fighting, and then you can redonate to behemoths. And that's kind of the equivalent. What do the devs say? Thank you for your suggestion. We're considering adding the addition of functionality similar to Alliance skills. Oh, yeah. So they're literally thinking about Alliance skills. This would serve to adjust the pace of field battles after a long-term donation resource. And offer a long-term donation resource. Yeah. So I think that Alliance skills in this game are actually inevitable. I think they will definitely do this. It's just a question of when, and when is it a priority relative to all the other stuff. All in all, for me, the Warpets are the most important thing in here. I think working on, you know, the friendliness of Warpets, like spending less time to find the ones you want and to hunt the max level ones, would be really, really great. Overall, I think this direction for the game is very good. And I actually think a lot of the questions here were really, really great. Big kudos to the developers of the game for consistently giving, in my opinion, some direction and thinking into kind of where the game is headed. I really appreciate that. And also, I mean, I'll shout out Rusty Leo in particular, who, you know, I've been sharing feedback to, and he's like, yeah, send it all my way, bro. Let's go. So big shout out to the community managers here. Thank you for sharing this dev feedback. I'm definitely looking forward to the next one. Consider subscribing if you haven't already so you don't miss it. And I'll have a card in the end screen with the upcoming patch notes where they teased new infantry and they seem dope. I mean, like, I bet you the infantry rally is going to be really good. Check it out. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom.